as the summer goes by. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural edition of the LP TV Club. We had a movie club. We still have a movie club. That's every Monday. And so we decided TV deserves some love. So we will start an LP TV Club. So here's how it's going to work. Every week we'll have a panel of 4 people. Sometimes I'll be here. Sometimes Kyle will be here. And the rest of the panel will rotate. And we're going to pick 6 shows, episodes that happened in the prior week, and we'll go through them. Why did we pick 6? Because if we lived in Canada, Disney Plus would have 6 tiles. So, too soon?
I'm jealous. I'm just very jealous. I want my 6th tile.
Hi, Amy. So today's panel, I just want to introduce. There's me, Benji. Nobody. There's Alex.
Hello.
There's Mike. He's our editorial director for Star Wars content, but also does Simpsons. And Marshall, you're kind of new to the whole video thing, so why don't you introduce yourself?
I know. Writer now becoming talent. I'm excited. My writer said I wanted a bowl of grapes, and there's none here, though, so I don't know how long I'm going to last. But hi, everyone. I am Marshall Knight. I'm a writer for the site. I'm doing recaps aplenty right now, so you can read my Grownish recaps and my American Idol. Ooh, whoa, whoa.
Wow. Marshall has been adjacent to the site for since he was 6 or something. So
12. I famously lied and said I was 13 to join the discussion boards.
Wow. And that's a great use of the term famously. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So we are going to get started. So once again, it's our first episode, so bear with us a little bit. But why don't we get started with Alex? And he's going to talk a little bit about the latest episode of The Secrets of Sulphur Springs.
Yeah, lots of stuff went down this past week on Secrets of Sulphur Springs. Basically, it created a whole lot of new questions about how the time traveling hatch works on the show. And just for anybody who hasn't watched it, it's on Disney Channel. The first 5 episodes came to Disney Plus last Friday. And each Friday going forward, Disney Plus is trying this new thing where rather than waiting for a series to come to its end on TV and then dump it all on Disney Plus, they're going to give you a new episode each week. But if you have a subscription to Disney Channel, if you have Disney Now, you can catch up on all the Secrets of Sulphur Springs episodes that there are. Long story short, a girl went missing from this camp in 1990 that's run by this hotel. And so this boy, the main character's name is Griffin. His dad buys the hotel that's been shut down for years due to hauntings. And Griffin and his new friend Harper discover through the basement, there's a secret door that leads to an underground bunker and then a dark hallway that leads to a hatch. And when they go through the hatch, they travel back in time 30 years. And so they're able to meet this camper who disappeared, who allegedly is haunting the hotel. And they've been trying to stop that from happening up until now. But they just found her, and she ended up finding the hatch back in 1990, going back to 1960. And then in this last episode, they couldn't find her in 1960, but they found a photograph in the school library's archive that showed Savannah somewhere in 1962. And so they found in the secret room in the hotel. There's a lot going on here. But the secret room inside the hotel has a radio that looks just like one that's in that weird underground bunker. And they've turned it around, found a dial, and when they changed the dial, it allowed them to basically figure out how to change the date and amount of time they go back in when they go through that hatch. So this time they've gone back to 1962. So it obviously opens up a lot more questions. We haven't found out how the time traveling hatch got there, who set it up. I feel like those are questions that we kind of need answered. But basically where this one left off, it seems like they have convinced Savannah to come back with them to 1990 to hopefully make everything right again.
And this show is not your typical Disney Channel sitcom. It's not your have a laugh kind of.
It's not a sitcom at all. In fact, one of the reasons I love it so much is my favorite Disney Channel show of all time is So Weird, which was a paranormal mystery show. And it had kind of an overarching plot, but mostly it was like a freak of the week style. Each episode they were looking at, could be a ghost, could be a UFO, could be leprechauns, could be will-o'-the-wisps. And this show, obviously, it's a lot more, you need to see every episode to understand what's going on than So Weird was. But in a lot of ways, it reminds me of So Weird, just minus the musical aspect of the show. And I'm really enjoying it. I think it's one of the best things Disney Channel's done in like a decade.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they went this route.
Yeah, it's Disney Channel if that turns you off, don't let it. This is great family viewing. You don't even need to be a family. Like it's just cool. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's spooky for adults, but it's definitely interesting for adults. And it's famously was destined for Disney Plus, but when Disney Channel needed some content, they kind of moved it over. But I highly, highly, highly recommend Secrets of Sulphur Springs.
It almost sounds like Gravity Falls and Andy Mack had a child, because Andy Mack was so trying to get dramatic again.
Yeah, and Andy Mack was the kind of show where you needed to see the previous episode usually to really understand what's going on. So yeah, there's a lot of continuity in Secrets of Sulphur Springs, and there are some aspects of it that are a little Gravity Falls-esque, but it never gets that weird. There's no rainbow vomiting gnomes in Sulphur Springs.
The time traveling hatches makes me think of another show that I love, Cheers.
Oh.
Ted Danson's back, baby.
I was going to say Kirstie Alley appears in the next episode, so stay tuned to next TV Club.
We'll can't wait to see what Twitter says about that.
Rebecca talking about it. I'm sorry, Marcella, to box you when I pull up a comment, but it's fun to see the fashion changes between the eras.
I'm just doing my Cinderella hair.
Not only the fashion changes, but also some of the items they pull in. So Harper, both Harper and Griffin basically meet their parents when they were their age, when they go back to 1990. And Harper's mom often is seen with her caboodle, with all her makeup. And so there's been, I think, 3 episodes where it's like shameless caboodle plug, and she's like holding it up, which caboodles are back. Like that's a thing again. So I just think that's funny. I haven't seen a Trapper Keeper yet, but I'm waiting for it.
What's a caboodle?
So a caboodle was like a compartmentalized, kind of like an art kit, but for makeup. So they were a really big deal with girls in the 90s because they had all these compartments. So it was like all your eyeshadows could go here, all your lipsticks could go here, all your hair scrunchies could go here.
Like a tackle box.
Kind of like a tackle box. Yeah, you open it up and it like unhinges, but it's like tackle box for makeup.
And apparently cadoodle.
Yeah, they're a big deal again. And what's funny is they're making them back in 90s colors, and I'm pretty sure the one on the show is a new caboodle that just looks retro and that they didn't go grab someone's vintage caboodle.
Does it seem, because I didn't realize that it was supposed to go on Disney Plus before, does it seem like it's a Disney Plus budget? Because this all sounds real intricate for like Disney Channel budget standards. You can tell how they've been creative with the budget. So they're filming. They're filming out near New Orleans, and what it feels like to me is they've built these facades for the camp, for the hotel, and that they've got 2 versions of them. One that's like modern and decrepit, and one that's like fresh and new for back in time. But a lot of it, like you can kind of tell when you're watching it, like these sets are very temporary when they're outdoors.
and like if a strong wind
Ooh.
blew, they might disappear.
The
So you can
storybook circus of Disney Channel. Understood.
Yeah, you can tell the budget is low, but the quality of storytelling is there, which is what really matters. But I highly recommend this show. Again, the first 5 episodes are all on Disney Plus commercial free. The rest are on Disney Now, if you wanted to quick catch up. And then they air new episodes on Fridays. And when they air them on Disney Channel, they do them commercial free because this was made for Disney Plus. One of the things that stands out is it doesn't have like a commercial break logical spot. So if you watch it without the commercial breaks, it just flows right through. But like on Disney Now, it'll suddenly like stop at like a weird place to give you 3 commercials for the same things you just saw, and then get right back in. It's always the same 3 commercials on Disney Now. I love it.
That's where I got my Cuddle Up It.
That is how you got a Cuddle Up It.
I'll bring them out in just a little bit.
It's also
Are they related to caboodles?
Oh well, no, you'll get to enjoy the magic of a Cuddle Up in just a few minutes after I introduce. We got. That's Matt Marshall 0214. Very happy to see Marshall. Welcome. So
Thanks.
It seems only appropriate that the next show we talk about is from the Ish cinematic universe.
Yes.
We are
the
going.
fact that there's about to be 4 of those blows my mind.
Yeah.
Do we have like Shonda Rhimes has Shondaland? Does Kenya Barris have like Barrisland? Like
What's it called? I forget what it's called. I
What's
think it might
his
be Kenya Paris Productions or something. But
It's not as
we need it,
fun.
like
Not as
it should be
catchy.
like Kenya World or Barris World or something.
what's funny
Bears
is
Bonanza.
Grownish, Blackish, and Mixedish all film on the Disney Studio lot, and that's about all they can handle. So whenever last time I could go to Disney Studio lot, the security guy's like, "There's a whole lot of ish happening."
Ish happens on the studio lot.
So speaking of ish, Marshall, what happened in Grownish this week? You there? Did you freeze?
Oh, we lost him.
Oh no!
Well, such a pouty face too. He would like make
Right at his magic moment.
It was like the moment he was going to start talking, he dropped out.
Oh, so in that case,
Oh, he's back. He's back.
oh, welcome back.
No, maybe not.
Nope, not. Can you hear us? Hello?
Can anyone hear
Are you
me?
stuck in a time loop?
Is it 1960? Do you want to talk about Grownish? Can you hear us?
I have frozen. I can't hear anyone else. So
No.
Well,
He's
if
on
you cannot
1990s
hear
broadband.
me, that would be a bummer,
You'll-
but I saw reactions.
you will get back to Marshall because we will go now to Mike, who is going to tell us all about The Simpsons.
It's tough to differentiate the Simpsons opening 3-note theme from the old Nabisco jingle. I always thought that was yeah. The Simpsons this week was called Wad Goals, an odd title for an episode about Bart becoming a well-tipped golf caddy at the elite Springfield country club, and Marge is not happy about this. I wasn't entirely clear why Marge didn't want Bart to be a caddy. It seemed like an odd. I don't know. Maybe I have to go. I was recapping the episode, so I wasn't paying 1,000% attention. But I would have to go back to rewatch to see why Marge didn't actually want him to be a caddy. But this whole episode's about that conflict, and Bart starts making a whole bunch of money. He wants to buy like a ATV with his tip money from being a caddy. And what else happens?
Must have been a long episode because there was no chalkboard gag and no couch gag.
Yeah, that's true. There hasn't been a chalkboard gag in a while, and occasionally they'll do a couch gag now and then. But I'm trying to remember like what when I'm writing the recap, I'm really just like regurgitating the little bits of what happened, but I don't remember the overarching plot beyond him becoming a golf caddy. And there were some Caddyshack references in it. It ended with Ralph Wiggum being the little gopher from Caddyshack.
Well, we got a new voice for Dr. Hibbert, right?
Yes, this is the premiere of Kevin Michael Richardson as Dr. Hibbert, replacing Harry Shearer. Harry Shearer was voiced that character for many, many years.
31.
Lisa's deal. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember much else about it. It's just about Bart becoming a caddy.
So we also got news this week that The Simpsons is returning for 2 additional seasons, which will take it over 750 episodes.
Yep. It's a long running show that's far past its prime, in my opinion.
How old are Marge and Homer supposed to be?
Well, I remember when I was a kid, Homer was 38 years old, and now I'm 41 years old, so I am theoretically older than Homer. But I think they've upped his age a bit since the show started, so I'm not sure what they call Homer now. But I remember they were teenagers in the 70s, and then they were teenagers in the 80s. And
every 5 years, they do a new backstory of Marge and Homer that resets their new young romance, like just exactly like 20 years ago.
Oh, reading my recap there, I remember there is a funny gag in this episode that references the meme of Homer like walking backward through the hedge, which they do to get into the country club, and Bart says, "My dad does this all the time," or something like that.
That's cute.
Doobie has a weird question. Was there anything green in The Simpsons?
Yeah, it took place in a golf course, which is all full of greens.
Yeah.
That is a weird Simpson. That is a weird question.
That's a very weird question. So we'll awkwardly move along to back to, we'll try Marshall again. See if
sorry, y'all.
No, maybe it was just we when you bring up the ish that often, it's bound to go bad.
Yeah.
So what happened on Grownish?
Everything's been rather pleasant in the previous 2 episodes, and this one was all about homophobia. Bam, 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 bam. Vivek, who's in that picture, is a famed drug dealer on the show, has a new girlfriend, and decided, let's go party and do some drugs. I mean, I have him in ample supply in my crazy trench coat of pockets. He doesn't have that, but that's why I envision him having. Okay. And at the end of the crazy night, a threesome happened. Not threesome, 3-way hullabaloo. Let's call it that. Barris Bonanza. And Vivek kisses another man, and Aaron and Doug, when he brings it up, confront him about how that makes him immediately gay. And it was very much what I think we're known to have in the Ish universe, of a bottle episode that's about an issue, where a lot of this doesn't really relate to anything else in the storyline this season, other than let's just talk out toxic masculinity and homophobia within the Black community, Black male community, and kind of dissect that. And that's what happened. And in the end, they gave him a gay cake that said, "Sorry that you're gay." And then they went, "Wait, that's not supposed to say that. It's supposed to be sorry that we thought you were gay. So sorry." Ixnay on that one. But yeah, it was a very, I like a bottle episode. I've always been a fan of those. And this came across as one that very much could have been a play. Like if they wanted to set this up on a stage and make it one room, it was very people coming in through different doors to say their thoughts and then leaving. So
that's,
I'm going to put gay cake on my rider.
We finally have you talk about Grownish. And we get the episode with like rampant drug use and toxic masculinity.
You don't understand how hard it's been. Again, as someone who has literally grown up on the site, being like, can I write the word sex on Laughing Place? Click, click, click. Can I talk about this?
Yes, but wow.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also been as a whole this season, especially part 2, which I know was delayed. I don't know if it was filming problems due to COVID or they just wanted to delay it in hopes to get new viewer or in hopes to keep the viewership alive. There's a lot less Zoe, who is Yara Shahidi, who will be playing Tinkerbell in the live action Pinocchio announced.
Peter Pan.
It's
yeah.
Pan. Pinocchio. That's the other fairy. Cynthia Erivo.
That's Cynthia Erivo.
Apparently you haven't been on Laughing Place enough.
I know. Yikes. But they she's been away. There's been a lot of episodes where it's just dealing with all the other cast, and then she'll come in for a little bit. It's almost every other, which is weird because all of the promotional for this season was just her on the poster. So that seems like false promotional material. But either way, nonetheless, it's been a very good episode. Or very good episode and a very good season.
I was going to say, I had to recently review the OnlyFans documentary. So I think as long as you fit within the guidelines of that, you're fine.
So we'll move on to American Housewife with Holly Robinson Pete and Jake Choi. Now, I think Holly Robinson Pete's on the cast and Jake Choi's guest starring. You know Holly Robinson Pete from Life and Jake Choi from Single Parents. But Alex, you watch this. What's going on with sport?
Yeah, well, this episode was a lot of fun. It's called The Guardian, and really both the A plot and the B plot were basically people being put through the test. The main plot was Katie and Greg discovered that they had never set up a guardian in the event of their death for their youngest daughter, Anna Cat. Their oldest daughter is now 19, and then their middle child, who's their son, is 17. So they're not so worried about them, but they realized if they go, there's no one to really look after Anna Cat. So they're basically putting Kate's mom through a series of tests to see, like, are you responsible enough to handle this? At the same time, the new character played by, I'm already blanking on his name. I think you said Jake. Yeah, Jake Choi. He and his partner are getting. They want to have a kid, and they're looking for egg donors. And he gets the list from the donor place of the women that are his options, but he has these guidelines where he's not supposed to seek them out or meet them in real life. So Katie and her friend decide to kind of help intervene. They basically accost the one at a coffee shop and learn that not only is she very pretty and smart, but she's had a lot of plastic surgery and her looks aren't natural. So and also her career ambitions are to be on like a string of reality dating shows, like kind of leverage that. Like I started on The Bachelor and then I end up on all these things leading to Celebrity Rehab. And anyway, it's a cute episode where they kind of keep going, and then he ends up unintentionally like dating one of the egg donors without realizing it. He kind of like looks at this girl as like his new best friend, but then by the end of the episode, they realize that she thinks that they are starting a relationship. It was very cute. I liked this episode a lot. And I had to kind of quickly play a recap. I've been a fan of American Housewives since it began, but since this 5th season has started, I've been too busy to really watch it. So while working today, I kind of had a lot of it on in the background. So it was fun to kind of like speed recap on American Housewife in preparation for this new TV club.
And they just celebrated 100 episodes.
Yeah, so this is episode 101. Not the episode you should start with, but it's episode 101. Which is kind of a magic number in the Disney universe.
It's the broken episode. Holly Robinson Pete from Hey, I'm Mr. Cooper, ABC fame. Yeah.
Cooper. One of the greatest TV theme songs of all time. Underrated.
Okay, can I go on a little TGIF tangent right now?
I would love nothing more.
The highlight of my day, I mean, I haven't had a great day, but my highlight of my day was to find out Reginald Bell Johnson is going to be appearing in Disney Plus's Turner and Hooch.
I have questions about that.
Yes.
Does that mean this is a continuation of Turner and Hooch, or is it a reboot that's just like winking at Reginald Bell Johnson's existence?
No, I think it's a continuation. I think it's like Hooch is like grandson or whatever.
Oh wow! And is it Tom Hanks's character's grandson as the human?
I think it's nephew. There is a connection, but I don't remember exactly. But
I am very excited that it's Josh Peck. I think that's great casting.
And I guess Drake wasn't available, huh?
I think that's for the better for all of us, and I don't want to go into that right now.
All I know is that he was on a show called Josh and Drake, and I think Drake was Spider-Man for a while.
Yes.
You remember when Gus Van Sant's Psycho came out in like the late 90s? There was this parody short film that I thought was hilarious about like a filmmaker making a shot-for-shot remake of Turner and Hooch.
The ending kind of changed, though. The ending of that movie is awful. But Oh, what was I going to say about Turner and Hooch?
I'm recapping it for the site, not to get too ahead of us, but
You are excited for...
Oh, no, I was really excited that when I read the Reginald Vell Johnson announcement, it like listed the cast and then it listed the people or not people playing Hooch. Like it's about time they got proper representation.
What are the dogs' names? Is it like Snickers?
There's like 5, and I don't know all of them, but
is it just one word names? Because I would love it if it was like Sarah Michelle Gellar, like long, like 3 named dogs.
It was only going to go with one name, but there was already someone like
in the union
with that name, so they had to like make
Sparky von Rufferstein III.
Wag Darktra.
I'm so jealous. One time, Benji went to a stage production of The Wizard of Oz, and in the playbill was the little slip of like the understudies playing tonight, and it was Toto's being played by Skittles or something like that in tonight's performance.
Oh no! So it was supposed to be Princess, but then they made an announcement that in this performance we were getting Snickers.
Snickers,
and we after seeing it, we really didn't think that that the understudy was better. We can't imagine that Princess performed the role as good as Snickers did.
In the Turner and Hooch universe, does Reginald Vell Johnson play a police officer?
He did. Now he's promoted to mayor.
So has he ever not played a police officer?
What show was it? There's some show on Disney Channel where he played a principal.
Okay.
I forget.
That's like a lateral move. Police officer, principal, mayor. Like it's all right there.
And I don't know if you've seen the deleted scene from Avengers Endgame where he played a police officer.
No, what?
Yeah, he's running away from something, and I forget what. I don't know if it was Endgame or Infinity War, one of the two. But they cut it, and it breaks my heart that they cut it. Like
that's amazing. Yeah, we got to get that back in the MCU somehow.
It's in the bonus features, but it's not fully visualized. It is cut in previs, I guess, or whatever.
Fingers crossed it's included in the WandaVision finale tomorrow. They just kind of slide it in there.
Future Disney legend Reginald Vell Johnson, or like future Disney cop Reginald Vell Johnson. If there's anyone that can unite this country, it's Reginald Vell Johnson.
Just every keynote at every expo from now on, he's just standing on stage in the corner, like just okay. Let's see what's going on here.
Personal security.
Yeah.
So, Mike, you also reviewed the latest episode of the antepenultimate episode of DuckTales.
I feel I'm a little bit more prepared to talk about this because I recapped The Simpsons and I reviewed DuckTales and watched it with a little bit more of a critical eye, so I remember it a little bit more. But yeah, this is the DuckTales episode that's the big crossover with TaleSpin, and I'll say at the beginning of this discussion that I was a much, much bigger fan of DuckTales growing up than TaleSpin, so I feel like this episode wasn't made for me, but there are people who love both of those shows, and I feel like it was made for those people, and it's kind of a loveto TaleSpin, and it takes place decades after the series, because Kit Cloudkicker has grown up and like kind of taken Baloo's spot as the pilot of the what's the ship, the plane's name now? The Sun Chaser is the DuckTales one. The other one is the something about a duck, actually, ironically. Now I forget the name of the plane, but and you can see there in the image they're meeting Della Duck and Huey and Dewey there. It's a fun episode. It has some Wuzzles homage in it as well.
Did they pull in any Popples?
No Popples, just the TaleSpin and the Wuzzles show up in DuckTales. It's about this stone that has the power to combine two different animals, and that plays a big part. Kit Cloudkicker was hired by Fowl to deliver this stone, and he accidentally dropped it in the ocean, but it actually fell on an island, and then they go to the island and face off against Fowl there, and Kit Cloudkicker has to kind of find his way back to being useful because he's grown up to be kind of a slacker. And then Dewey, the duck played by Ben Schwartz, wants to learn how to do that, ride on that boomerang shaped board that Cloud Kicker rides on. But this episode is really about like figuring out what you're good at in life. Mike Farnham says Animaniacs is better than TaleSpin. Two different companies. This is kind of like animal.
I only judge things critically by corporate identity. So like when I watch Batman, I don't compare it to anything done.
I just mean it's like apples and oranges. Like I don't know. I don't think Animaniacs versus anything in the Disney afternoon. One's more of a comedy, and a lot of the Disney afternoon shows were like action adventure kind of a thing, with some humor in it.
Maybe Bonkers is about as close as you get.
Sure.
Good night, everybody.
Not as much innuendo on the Disney afternoon as there was in Animaniacs.
Yeah, you could do a lot more on Saturday mornings than you could on weekday afternoons.
So I haven't seen this episode yet because it's really actually kind of hard because I'm sad I'm gonna miss it. Like I'm gonna miss DuckTales.
Oh yeah, I'm really gonna miss DuckTales. This next couple of weeks is gonna be tough. This has become one of my favorite currently running shows, so it's going to be difficult to say goodbye. It's kind of a bummer that it's ending already after really just starting a few years ago. So
we just got an update. Reginald Bell Johnson is the principal in Disney's I'm in the Band,
which I completely forgot existed until just now.
And I agree with Mike. If he shows up in WandaVision as a cop, that would make my life. I could die.
I remember seeing with the DuckTales like ending announcement, are they doing did they get like a deal, the creators of this reboot, to do more work for Disney, or is that me remembering things incorrectly?
I think at one point there was rumors. I don't know if they're involved with the Darkwing Duck.
That
Disney
might be what my question was.
Well, that's Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, isn't it?
Yeah, but like there was questions. I mean, all we really know is that they're doing a Darkwing Duck series for Disney.
We don't know if it's connected to the new Darkwing Duck that they introduced in this iteration of DuckTales.
They never
and
really
then the Rescue Rangers is not even involved.
No, so the Rescue Rangers movie that they're working on has, I think, no connectivity to this.
Though the Rescue Rangers have also popped up in this DuckTales.
I remember briefly seeing the little, blimp go by.
Did they get on Gadget's Go Coaster at any point?
No,
they didn't have a fast pass.
Disneyland.
It doesn't need a fast pass.
It is not clear if the creative team of DuckTales is moving on, but to another Disney project. But I think typically there's a little bit of a gap when they close up shop on something as they're developing. Like I know once Candace Against the Universe ended, it took I think Swampy's new show, it took a little while for that to be announced. And I know there's plenty that's not been announced at Disney Television Animation, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that creative team come back, but I imagine it's going to be in a new environment, a new world.
Well, I hope that there's enough interest that this version of DuckTales will live on in some form. I'd love to see them make a feature or something. I feel like there's fan base is so passionate. What's that?
Christopher Lloyd is a genie. Get a Rip Torn type to play another genie, and then
John Goodman.
I don't know if he's out there enough for Rip Torn.
When I say Rip Torn, I mean Rip Taylor.
Oh yes, yeah, not Rip Torn from Men in Black.
No, Rip Tyler from Confetti.
Tyler, the Confetti.
From Confetti. Understood. I was like, okay, now I get it.
Confetti and wigs.
Glittery jackets.
Yes.
Jonathan Van Ness. There we go.
Yeah, Michaels is out of sequence for 4 years after he's been through one of their stores.
Just boarded up like a hurricane just passed through.
So
I would hope that they can do more Disney afternoon stuff, though. I feel like this has such a following, and I would be interested to see them tackle Bonkers or TaleSpin and hardcore, especially with the Disney Plus of it all now.
I just want original Pepper Ann on Disney Plus.
If I could pay for anything, it would be Pepper Ann and the Weekenders on Disney Plus.
Weekenders they put out on DVD, so I have it, and so I'm like not craving that. But Pepper Ann I haven't seen in like however long it's been.
I
Since
was
Toon
not a
Disney
Disney
was there.
I was not a Disney afternoon child, but I was definitely a one Saturday morning person. Oh, loved.
Did you watch it back when they had Manny the Uncanny?
What is that?
Manny the Uncanny?
I don't remember that.
Back when One Saturday Morning first started, they had like interstitials, and he was this crazy guy. He was this crazy guy that would like talk funny and be crazy.
Well, I do remember
the Yearbook Kids.
Yeah.
I remember the interstitials with the girl with the curly hair, who then I found out ended up being in La La Land as the one who casted Emma at the audition.
Okay, so that was the second season. This is, let me see if I can get Manny the Uncanny here. This is Manny the Uncanny.
I did not. Is he related to Rip Tyler?
So he came back into my world because he is performed by Paul Rudd, who is also the performer behind Ned in Earth to Ned.
What a career.
Manny the Uncanny was made out of the leftover confetti from Rip Tyler.
Great. Okay. Those poor Michaels employees out of work. I can see the little animation in the bottom right, though. That's the one I was used to. The really bad CGI.
Paul Rudd's also a regular on Animaniacs, and that brings us back around.
On Saturday morning.
So I'm gonna go and talk a little bit about this little independent thing that is on Disney Plus. One of those like small shows. I'm gonna talk about WandaVision.
Is that a Searchlight production?
Yeah, it's Searchlight. It's
okay.
It was actually made by independent financiers, and Searchlight acquired it.
Oh, okay. Was this a TIFF project? I understand. Now I remember. Okay, go on.
Sundance backed.
So we get to go back. Agatha takes us on a little journey through Wanda's life, and we're seeing with Agatha being like totally evil to her sisters, her witch sisters. I'm pretty sure this is going to tie into Hocus Pocus too.
Yes.
And then we see that when that Stark Industries bomb didn't blow up, it was actually Wanda using her witch's power to kind of, prevent it from blowing up. But we learned that she loved American sitcoms, and that's how they learned English, and was a great plot device to make sure we didn't have to read subtitles. So her favorite episode is the Wanted episode of Dick Van Dyke Show, which we actually watched after watching WandaVision, and is a personal favorite of mine. And we, in the end, Agatha says, with all her power, says that she is actually a myth, that Wanda's existence is a myth, that she's the Scarlet Witch. In the comic books, that's her name, her hero name, but we don't know what that means in terms of the MCU or what Agatha knows, because but we do know that the idea that Wanda went and stole the Vision is actually incorrect, and it must have been doctored by generic evil bureaucrat guy. And but then in the end, they take the magic from the helicopter from the second episode, and they revive the Vision, now white and blue, kind of to be. And that was sort of the tag for the episode. So it was a lot of sort of looking back at Wanda's life, a very sort of it was called Previously On, and it felt like definitely a Previously On episode. But there's so much that they have to wrap up in the last episode to make it feel complete. We know that there's going to be more of Wanda's story told in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but I just can't wait to see what tomorrow morning brings.
How long do you think this series finale is going to be?
I have no idea.
I'm secretly hoping it's like a supersized 90-minute episode.
I remember them saying at the beginning it's like 6 hours of content or something in the interview. And I've been theorizing about this show, like going in deep as if like give me a day and I can solve dark matter. Like, that's how deep I am into this. And they said that if you added up all we've had so far, we've had 5 hours. So this might be like an hour long ep.
I think it needs to be, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't wrap this up in 20 minutes. Sorry. Awesome.
And Mike corrects me. It wasn't the helicopter. It was the drone that they sent in that was going to blow up Vision. But
I hope tomorrow's episode's just a Quibi, just a quick bite.
Well, they've been playing with aspect ratio, so this is the first Marvel production to be done in portrait.
Academy.
Right. Jeffrey Katzenberg comes on into frame and then walks right off. Aww.
Wow.
Speaking of Lord Farquaad, so Rebecca has a question. People would read? Hey, here's a quick hit. Did you know people would read? Do you know where Manny the Uncanny is? Manny the Uncanny, he's coming down this. No, that's Bananas in Pajamas. I don't know. But anyway, what do you guys think of this episode? Mike, did you watch it?
Yeah, I thought this was great. This is probably one of my favorites of the season. I really liked the artfulness of it. I really liked the production design of all the different eras, all the little vignettes that they visit. It's kind of almost like a Christmas Carol type of thing where Agatha's taking Wanda through her past.
In this week's episode of WandaVision, the part of Jiminy Cricket is played by Agatha Harkness.
Some great writing too. I think people have pointed out how wonderful the writing was in this episode. And there's already so many. I mean, this show is just basically like a meme generating machine. But that line about how what is it? Grief is just love persevering or whatever like that. It's good stuff. And the performances are so great too. And Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany and what's her name playing Agatha, Catherine Hahn, all wonderful. And you know what? Some of the other actors in the show are not my favorite, and this episode didn't have them in it. And I was all for it.
I keep feeling this way week after week with WandaVision because with like the Emmys they have to submit like a specific episode of the show for different things.
Yeah.
And so after this episode, I'm like, you could submit this with Catherine Hahn, lead actress, and have her and Elizabeth Olsen like both going for lead actress in a comedy or musical series or whatever they're going to classify this.
All I've thought about is that the Emmy race for this, because we know that the Emmys is, sans like the Game of Thrones of it all, is pretty reluctant to nominate genre stuff. But I'm so hopeful. And if this is put up as if, great. If this is put up as a limited series, it is one of the toughest limited series years in recent memory. With this and the Queen's Gambit and I May Destroy You over on HBO, like it's going to be so heated. But I want Elizabeth Olsen recognized in any way possible. What she's done with tone and performance is so extraordinary.
What I like about the Emmys is a lot of the technical categories are split between 30-minute programs and an hour-long program. So, because generally 30-minute shows don't have, like, a lot of technical stuff in them. So Mandalorian just swept the table last year because it was listed as a 30-minute program because the episodes are so short.
Like and so Mandalorian versus The Conners for best visual effects.
Which had been, so WandaVision this year.
Actor made face masks.
So I'm excited for WandaVision 2. There's no way it doesn't win an Emmy. I mean, hopefully for Best Original Song, right?
I was going to say, can it sweep the category for opening credits? Like, is it eligible for every episode separately?
Yeah. What does qualify as a theme song? Like, how many times does it have to be used to be counted?
Well, right. Exactly. All I know is that, again, I've been theorizing and I've been listening to some theories of what's going to happen tomorrow and like very cerebral thoughts. And I am stoked and nervous for some reason.
I've never been so tempted to stay up till midnight, but
I know.
We're old.
We're like the Crypt Keeper.
As an East Coaster, I would have to stay up till 3. So
see, that's more like a get lucky kind of situation. Like, choose the Mendoza line of that, right?
I should have been asleep 4 hours ago then if I had to wake up at 3.
So that's the shows we watched this week, but we're going to wrap up by giving our highlights for what we want to see next week, ripping it off from Pardon the Interruption. We're going to give everyone something to watch in this upcoming week. So I'm going to start with Marshall.
Well, I think it's a little sad because I recap it as well, but it seems to be the last audition episode of Idol, and I'm looking forward to it so I can stop getting mad over auditions. There's been a lot of wrong people going through and right people not going through, and it's been a little infuriating. So I'm ready to go to Hollywood Week to see that tornado of a vocal mess. So I'm excited for it to be over as much as I do enjoy watching.
Alex, what do you got?
Can we all say WandaVision, or does it have to be something we're covering?
No, it could be anything normal.
Okay. I mean, the true answer, I don't know where that came from, is WandaVision. But in terms of what I'm covering, I'm kind of excited. Next Sunday, Mike is taking a break. And so I'll be taking over Simpsons recap for just a short period of time. And I'm looking forward to that. I've never recapped Simpsons before, but I've been watching it, since '89. So I'm excited to try that.
Mike, what are you up for this week?
I'll be watching WandaVision bright and early tomorrow morning before I go down to Knott's Berry Farm. And I'm very excited for the penultimate episode of DuckTales coming on Monday. But I don't think there's anything else in this coming week. I'm trying to think Disney-wise. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You're good. Okay. I mean, I know we all said it, WandaVision just being the season finale. Or series finale, depending on whatever they do. Catherine Hahn will be on The View tomorrow, so I'd love to hear her take on how everything wrapped up. Mike did share that Catherine Hahn said on GMA that we will love the finale and fans will be satisfied, and shared that Agatha All Along was #1 on iTunes, as it should be.
It actually deserves to climb Billboard to #1 and also get a Grammy.
Yeah, I kind of want the how they normally start with some super provocative performance at the Grammys. I just want Agatha to descend from the rafters,
yes,
and just go and sing the song.
I think we all need to put Catherine Hahn on a pedestal. And honestly, at this point, she should EGOT. She should just go for it. She's got it.
Well, she could get E and G done with just this, and I support that.
Yep.
I think is that I gotta say that even just with the little bit we know about Agatha, I want an Agatha spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
I want to know more about her, and a lot happened from the Salem era to whenever.
I mean, they have to be planning something more for that character, right? They don't just introduce people for no reason in the MCU. It's gotta pay off again somewhere else, I'm sure.
Really, where did the leader show up? after his debut in The Incredible Hulk.
Oh gosh! Oh come on! Well, that's the infancy where what happened to Edward Norton? Jeez,
he got ruffaloed. So
you just got ruffaloed.
So I want to share what we're gonna do next week for those so that you can follow along. We're gonna be back. It'll be me, Alex, Mike will be back again, and Becca will be here as well. And the shows we're gonna be reviewing are DuckTales, Amphibia, Secrets of Sulphur Springs, Simpsons, WandaVision, of course, and Big City Greens. So join us again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, 11 o'clock, 4 p.m. on the 11th, Thursday. And don't forget, we got Movie Club as well coming up on Monday. And I have no idea what our movie is, but I will find out.
It's Raya and the Last Dragon.
Oh, duh. Oh,
duh.
Is that another Searchlight production?
This was just
going very niche
from people's living rooms.
Oh, okay. Sounds bad.
But actually a big movie that was literally made from people's living rooms.
Those poor animators. I give them my hats and my glasses and my love and support.
I'm sure they all had very comfy pants on the whole time.
Well, thanks so much from all of us, including my cuddle uppet. and we will be back next week. Thanks, Marshall. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Alex. And we'll see you next week for the Laughing Place TV Club. Bye, everybody.
Bye.